And we are back again with the Burning Couch Podcast, episode 2 of the 15th season. I'm radio legend and podcasting god, Matty Stout. And with me, the man, the legend, you know him, Steve Slayton. Hey, Steve.
Hey, Matt. What's going on, buddy?
Nothing. Getting ready to go back to the old hometown in West Virginia this weekend and take part in the 150-year anniversary of the town. There's a little parade, so I'm gonna be in it. So I'm gonna practice my
presidential ways.
Yeah. Or I could do like I could do how they do the royalty do. They just kind of limp wrist it. I don't think that'll fly back at Kaiser.
That's not gonna work. That's not gonna work.
Anyway, I'm honored that the town is honors me. I'll be doing a lot of stuff this weekend with the town, going back to my first year community college and doing something there on Friday, and it'll be a lot of fun. It's always good to get back to the home state. Coming up on the show, let's talk about Tavon Austin's retirement, a game plan that WVU should imitate from Michigan for their game. And then the bulk of the show is going to Mike Asti. We're going to run down the whole season, and we will tell you our predictions. Last year, Steve and I's predictions were the best. We were the closest of all of his predictions that he published. Let's keep it up, Steve. Let's it was because we had faith.
Yep. And we just got to have faith.
Trust that damn climb. All right, people. I think the climb, we're at the hilltop. Let's keep there. Let's talk about Tavon Austin and all he is and all he was at WVU and in the NFL. He announced his retirement. A lot of tributes going out to him, of course, from WVU Nation. Pat McAfee did a really nice tribute to him on his show that maybe Isha will drop in here a little bit.
There was a man that retired yesterday that was legitimately one of the most fire-igniting players to ever step foot onto a football field. His college highlights at the West Virginia University are top-notch, ranked among greatest highlight tapes of all time for what he did alongside Geno Smith. His speed, absurd. Then he gets in the NFL, same damn thing. Highlights all over the place. Tavon Austin has retired.
The man was a beast. That's all you can say. WVU's all-time leader in purpose yards. He had All-American honors multiple times, and he was the only player in the history of the sport to score a touchdown on a rush, catch, punt return, and kick return in the same season. What do you say about a guy like Tavon Austin?
Man, it's amazing to see. I mean, he had a great career at West Virginia and even NFL. I mean, he put a big spotlight just with all his highlights. He was must-see TV.
He just made the state proud. I mean, anybody who plays at West Virginia, I go to NFL games and people laugh because I root for players. If your team's got Mountaineers on, I might have to become a Steelers fan this year because they're loaded with folks. And looks like Beanie Bishop, by the way, he might start, and he was an undrafted free agent, so that's exciting for him.
I mean, he was a ball hog at West Virginia too, so I feel it's only right that he's shown what he would imagine if he was in college still. But hey. Best of luck to him. You
had to make this decision at one point, to retire from the sport. Talk about that, how hard that is, and like what usually tips the scale for a player to announce a retirement.
Yeah, so, I mean, there's a lot of things, but I feel like one of those things that people, that play sports want to do is retire from the game, not have the game retire them. So, in that saying is that, you're not getting any more licks anymore, so you pretty much pack them up. But, for me, it was just, took time off, didn't take time off, was given time off, played in Canada, did 1 year, and I did what I needed to do, and I was done. And
you rocked it in Canada. And you could have kept playing up there if you wanted to, but you just decided that was it.
Yeah, that was it. It was just, being away for the family. It just wasn't worth it anymore.
Well, that position, Tavon Austin, if you think about how long his career was, that's the position, you get rocked a lot. You're not always you're not going to get through unhurt a number of years. It takes anything in the NFL is you're just getting your clock cleaned all the time, right?
Yeah. So it's like what is it? You say is it 16 weeks, 18 weeks, 20? It's just about every game because you're not going to start 100%. You're always going to keep coming down just from the grind of training camp and everything like that. And, that's your job. When it's 4th and short, 3rd and short is to get the first down. So it's that 1 yard is more important than, breaking a big run. That the durability can seem to dwindle down with the short distance.
Speaking of pumping the ball and just going run after run, we're taking a look at how Michigan beat Penn State last year. That's the first game of the season. We'll give the predictions when we have Mike on. That's what they did. Just kept pounding and pounding and pounding and handed Penn State a loss there. What do you think about this team and our ability to recreate that?
Oh, I think we have a great set of running backs, especially with CJ coming back and Jaheim White. But we have Garrett Green too. So, but the run does settle the pass. So I think that Garrett Green becomes that triple threat of passing and running too as well. So you basically got 3 running backs. So I think there's going to be a lot of that ground and pound.
And when you have 2 running backs that are at that level, they push each other to be better.
Oh yeah, it's like I feel like the football is like an energy pack. Anytime you get it, you feel good. You want to, you're not tired. We're at that point, but having that many threats on the field, the defense can't spy on one. You can use, split them out wide, those screens to both sides to where, as we used to do with Pat and Schmidt, and it's pick your poison at that time.
So we've got a lot of things to talk about with Mike Asti. And he likes to talk. So we're going to devote the rest of the show to him. So coming up on the other side, Mike Asti will join us and we'll talk the season. And we're back from WVU SportsNow and SiriusXM. Mike Asti, friend of the show.
Yeah.
Likes to talk a lot. We let him.
Yeah.
And this is our annual.
I appreciate that.
This is our annual walk through the season with Mike. I hope do you have the season up, the all the games, or do you know them all by heart?
I know most of them probably by heart by now, but let me pull up the schedule here.
I could pull it up too.
Test your brain.
This is an exciting season for WVU, isn't it, Mike?
It's an important season for sure. This is a season with a lot of hope and expectations entering the year. I mean, last year, going in the year, I don't know who was really all optimistic. A lot of conversation.
We were.
You guys were.
Yeah.
I will
Who
admit, you
won?
guys
Who
both
won?
did. You guys were. I think you had 8 wins. They end up winning 9. I had, I think, 6 or 7. So there were some, but there was a funeral atmosphere a little bit. I mean, Brown was on the hot seat. It was a different vibe than now. Now, there's excitement, but with excitement comes a little bit of pressure. They win 8 or 9 this year. I don't think people are going to be as excited as they were last year. The expectations are to do more.
Yeah.
But it sounds like, and you probably have a little more insight into this. It sounds like these guys are about business this year. That they are a well-oiled machine right now. What are you hearing?
I believe I even did a show and wrote an article similar to that vein. So yes, I you may have saw 100%. So they do have pressure to perform this year. But this isn't also any old team, mix and match. This is a veteran team for the most part, a lot of experience. They've been together now. Even the transfers that were added, a lot of them have major conference experience and have been around the block. They fit with this program perfectly. They're still playing with a chip on the shoulder, as everyone has seen. They didn't get in the coaches poll. They didn't get in the AP poll. Finished 25 in the coaches poll to end last year, and somehow you moved to what would be 33rd to start this year, despite a great offseason. They're mad about it. But they also know there's expectations, and they are kind of giving you that Bill Belichick, New England Patriots, all business vibe. There were questions throughout fall camp about, hey, what about Penn State? This is week 1 of fall camp in early August. Or what about the backyard brawl? That was a question a week ago. What about the backyard brawl? What does that mean to you? And the players and even Brown gave a kind of a sidestepping, it's a big game, but we're not focused on that right now. We're worried about tomorrow. We're not worried about game 3 of the season. We're not playing Pitt in week 1, and we're not even ready for Penn State yet. So it is all business. They even gave a no comment. Actually, Jaden Bray, the new receiver from Oklahoma State, they stole him from the Cowboys. He said he's there to get more touches, be more a focal point in the offense, does want to win, but he also wants his shine. And he was asked to compare Neil Brown to Mike Gundy. And he literally responded by saying, is it okay if I give a no comment? And we were like, yes. Because I do think part of that was he knew whatever he said, and obviously their personalities are very, very different. I'm sure it's very different. But whatever he said would have been picked up, would have been aggregated. It would have been bulletin board material for Oklahoma State that's also vying for a conference title. They don't want any of that. They just want to play football and show they're better and show they're deserving, and then let it take care of itself.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great mentality just because of last season, pick up the certain games or even just losing against the Houston, these certain games that you did and these certain plays, you don't make these mistakes, you win this game. So I think you got to be focused every week because, like you said, no bulletin board material because coaches use that. Players use that. So I think that's a great mindset to go into this year because of, hey, it's one game at a time. It's always going to be one game at a time.
And I like it when we're underrated. We do better when we're underrated. When we're a favorite, that's not good for us ever. In any sport.
You could argue that, right?
Except for rifle.
Right. Yeah, they were going to be favored forever.
Shoot something. Shoot something.
They knocked that out. I think the coaches like it too, honestly. Honestly, Maddie, I think the coaches like it too. I will tell you, I know for sure Brown is getting PO'd by not getting in these ranks. Even his colleagues amongst coaches didn't put him in after he got in last year. I think it annoys him and kind of aggravates him, but I do think he secretly likes it too. Because he can motivate these players. He can sell you won 9 games and nobody cares. You're being doubted. You're an underdog by 12 plus points to Penn State despite you being at home and you won 9 again. The disrespect card Brown loves selling to his players, especially this group. Yeah. So I do think it works.
It's a great card to take just because, what else are you going to do? Somebody's talking smack about you. You got to come back and hit him in the mouth a little bit. So,
you guys used it early with you and White in that tenure. You guys used that disrespect card. It took a while to get the respect you felt you deserved. Yeah.
We knew what we had, though.
Yeah, I'm sure you did.
And I think these guys know what they have too. And I mean, we're talking about a lot of weapons. We're going to go through the games for the season, and then at the end, we've got another edition of Player Star.
I've missed this. It's been a while.
People love the game. People miss it. Although, if you're watching on YouTube, you're getting corn because they won't let us say porn on there. We had that explained to us last week by our producer, who is a YouTube
see that. Makes sense.
Expert. I don't know. It's just a word. It's not like we're actually doing it. I mean, if we were on camera, like banging, like sure, yeah, you can ban that. But just saying the word.
Imagine the views there, though. But
not from us. No.
Yeah. Jesus. Well, depends on the audience, but
yeah.
Yes, we'll move on. Yes.
Let's move on from that. So coming up, let's start it off. Let's go through the games, and we'll make our official predictions for you. I say if we win again this year, we should win some kind of prize, a hat or something.
I don't think you guys said 9 wins, though. Didn't you go 8?
No, we said 10.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So then they didn't even get to that Houston game. They should have won that Houston game. They would have been perfect.
Yeah. That was it.
Yeah.
Let's never speak of that game ever again.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, Mike. I know where we're starting. At home, Penn State. Let's hear your opinion, and then Steve and I will make our predictions.
and yes, you guys are more optimistic than me last year, and it worked for you. I think West Virginia is going to play well in the game. I'll give you this. I think they can win. I think they might even cover the spread, but I'm not picking them to win. I don't think they're going to win. Penn State is a very, very, very good team, even on the road. That's hard to say you're going to beat Penn State. You could impress, though, even if you play them close, but I just can't do it.
All right, Steve.
You're not going to go with the hometown boys. We at home.
You got to.
Things get a little different in Morgantown. But, I think it's going to be a hard-fought game. I don't think the score last year reflected how hard we fought because I think they kind of just, drugged 100%. Up a little bit more. Like I said, we get the ground game running, Garrett Green throwing the ball, running the ball. I think that if we can keep our offense on the field, I think we have a chance.
Here's the deal. First play of the game, it's going to be a fake handoff, a bomb downfield, touchdown.
Like the bowl game.
I'm predicting that.
Okay.
I'm predicting a big throw from Garrett Green. I'm predicting madness. I'm predicting this. Where is it? Okay. I predict at the end of this game, I will be lighting this little couch on fire because this will be the first game that we've actually deserves a couch. We win this game at home, and they're not burning couches in Morgantown. I'm telling you, these kids, I will not have anything to do with them.
There's a lot more going on in Sunnyside these days, though. You burn a couch there. It's a lot more going on. It's not just some apartments and crappy houses.
Find a way.
It's a little
Find a way,
days.
Students. Find a way to burn those couches. I predict that we win, and here's how we win at the end. It'll come down to one play, and we'll all expect us to f*** it up because that's what we do. And we actually won't this year, and we're going to beat Penn State. Penn State, win from me. All right, what's up next?
Albany is up next, by the way.
Okay, let's just skip that. Come on, Albany. I mean, whatever.
It'll be a win, but by the way, they're no slouch on the FCS level. Oh, by the way, I'll give them that. They're an 11-win team there, but it should still be a win.
Should be a big win. Okay,
yeah.
Steve, you concur?
Yeah, I concur. It's a tune-up game. You pay to play them, so you gotta beat them.
It should be a tune-up game. It should be a tune-up game, right? Yeah.
All right, Mike. What's next on the list?
That is then the backyard brawl and the game against Pitt back in Pittsburgh. So you got to finally talk about it, even though they don't want to right now. I do think West Virginia wins this game. This is a big deal, though, because this is the current series before there's a little bit of break and then it starts up again. And the winner of this gets the rubber match. They were so close in Pittsburgh 2 years ago. They did win it last year despite Green going down. I think they win it. I don't think they dominate and win it by 20+. I don't think Pitt's that good this year at all, but it's still a rivalry game. But I think West Virginia wins it. They are a better team. They have a better roster. They're going to have fans there, even though it's in Pittsburgh, obviously. They were close a couple years ago. This team's more cohesive. They're more together. Pitt's just a cluster, a little bit right now. So I think West Virginia wins it, and they got to.
Yeah, no, West Virginia definitely has to win that game, but it is a rivalry game, like you said, and it's always tough. It's always play well when the rivalry comes because it's going to be, us coming off beating Penn State. That's going to be looking their chops for the year.
Big. Yeah. Either way, I think they win the Pitt game, though.
All I have to say is, Sweet Caroline, Pitt each.
Pitt.
You know it, baby, and they are going to eat a big pile of it come this season in Pittsburgh. We win by 15.
Either one, you're going to be at either one of these games? You're going to be at Penn State or Pitt, by the way?
I'm going to try. I think
okay.
I'm going to try definitely for this
You
year.
put that email in, Steve. They're going to move you to the front of the line and you can go to one of those. Even in Pittsburgh, I guarantee they're going to get you there because that happened with former Mountaineers 2 years ago.
If Steve goes, I will go because then I can go off his coattails and get down on the field. So I'd love to go to the Penn State game, but man, those tickets are pricey.
They're rough.
Yeah.
I saw that. Yeah.
All right, so we've got 2-0 season so far, 3-0 season except for Mike. Mike went with the chump call.
I know.
Picking against us.
I know. I'm sorry. Then it is Kansas, who is a possible top 25 team perennially. The Jalen Daniels is back. They're 22 right now in the AP, I believe. I think West Virginia wins this game. It's a little bit of revenge for a couple years ago when West Virginia lost to Kansas at night at home after losing the backyard brawl, and then the season kind of totally went off the rails. That is not going to be an easy game, though. And guys, as you can see from the schedule, if you have it up, forget the out of conference. This is the most important stretch of the schedule. Yeah. This is a gauntlet, and based on the new playoff rules, even if they lose to Pitt and Penn State or one or the other or whatever, if you win the Big 12, you're in the playoffs. So these games are I know everyone hates Pitt, but this is more important than even the Pitt game. These games are the most important. I do think they win, but there's going to be some losses in here, I would expect. This is a gauntlet, especially these first 5 games in conference play.
Steve.
So I'll give them that one.
Yeah, I think Kansas with Jaden and versus Green. I think that's what's going to be the key matchup is our quarterback play, their quarterback play for that game. But
two dual threats, and they could not handle Jalen Daniels 2 years ago at all.
Yeah. So, a dual threat is a game changer.
Yeah. Jayhawks, stick to basketball. You lose this game. But I will say this will be I do predict a close game, and I have I will say I'm a little worried about. If it wasn't at home, I would be more worried about it. But I think we take it at home.
Again, there's no guarantee there, but I do think that should be favored the Mountaineers, but because it is at home, but we'll see otherwise.
Well, after we beat Penn State, we'll be top 25. We'll be favored in every game. Come on,
you beat Penn State, West Virginia's going to be definitely ranked because they're so close now. You just don't want to mess it up in the Pitt game. Yeah. And even if I honestly think, guys, even if you lose to Penn State, but you beat Albany, you beat Pitt, and then you potentially go in the Kansas game ranked even with the Penn State loss because they're a top 10 team, you certainly beat Kansas, you're going to get ranked at that point. Even if you lose to Penn State. Penn State is a good team.
Next up, Mike.
You're making me do this. You're making me go. I thought you had it up right in front of you. I thought you had it up. All right, well, we got Oklahoma State is next up, and that one is on the road. West Virginia lost that game, as you remember. That was one of the losses last year. And even though Oklahoma State is perennially good, West Virginia should have won that game. Ollie Gordon, I'll never forget it. He ran for 149 exactly in the fourth quarter. West Virginia had a lead at one point in that game. They were right in that game, and then Oklahoma State pulled away. He's dealing with some legal troubles now, but I assume he's going to play. They're a very good team, too. They struggle sometimes early in a year. That one, on the road, that's hard to pick the Mountaineers. I think that's probably another loss against Oklahoma State.
Oof. I feel like, it is a tough playing on the road. And I think after a big win, we haven't seen them yet put back-to-back games against top teams. So if anything, I would say that might be the first loss, maybe by 3.
I will say there's a bye in between. There's 2 byes in the Big 12 schedule this year. Now they're a 16 conference. So that should be in between one of the byes.
I would love to have us. I'm a homer. I'm going to say an undefeated season.
I was going to say, there not a loss in there at all?
Yeah.
But this is the loss. This is the loss to me. First game on the, big game on the road, Oklahoma State. I feel like they've got a lot of stuff going on this year, and there'll be stuff up on the boards no matter what the guy says.
They're mad about Jaden Bray leaving. I mean, you pluck one of their key players to you. And also, we'll got to keep an eye on Ollie Gordon's status there. He got himself into hot water. If he doesn't play, then obviously that's a different situation. But if he's there, they certainly got to keep him under 200 yards and 150 and a quarter. That didn't happen last year. Steve, I don't know if you ever ran for 149 and a quarter. I know you did it in a lot of games. That's insane.
I don't know. Maybe.
In a quarter?
I've been close.
You had a lot of yards in games. I know.
Yeah, no, I don't think 149. 149 is a lot.
Okay. That's the first loss we're picking. Okay, there we go.
Iowa State. And this is a team that I do think is a little bit overrated. They're coming into the year number 6 in the Big 12 media poll. West Virginia number 7. West Virginia feels slighted there. Iowa State, in terms of what they're coming off of. But a lot of people really love Iowa State. This is back at home in Morgantown. This is part of the gauntlet here. I do think West Virginia, though, beats Iowa State. I think the Mountaineer offense is more explosive than anything Iowa State puts together, and as long as the special teams for the Mountaineers doesn't totally implode itself, I think that's a victory.
Yeah,
but it could, because Iowa State always causes problems on special teams.
Yeah, we got to beat up on Rocco.
Yeah, Rocco Beck. Yeah, that's going to be interesting. I'd imagine Anthony's going to be there.
Yeah.
Beat up on his son. We'll have to have Anthony on the show before that game. Anthony's a friend of the show, and I love Tony. He's a great guy. Steve. So what's your prediction there?
I said we beat up on Rocco, we win. So I'm gonna have to go to win.
I do think it will be a tough day for Rocco in Morgantown. I really do. I think it's going to be too much going on there. And I know his dad secretly is going to be rooting for West Virginia. He won't admit it, but
I imagine he's going to that game. I imagine he's on the field for that game.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
imagsion. I'm sure.
It depends what the season though. He's head coach.
Well, yeah, but that shouldn't be an issue for him. He's coaching that more in the spring. He should be.
Okay.
That's right.
Okay.
I forgot he's coaching now. Yeah. So win.
Okay. I still have the Penn State loss, but Oklahoma State. You had the Oklahoma State loss too.
That's the one loss we have.
Yeah, so everyone has Iowa State. Sure. Okay. Kansas State. Another ranked team, part of this gauntlet, also, though, in Morgantown. This game could easily go either way. I definitely think they're going to lose more than one this year. I am penciling kind of the game after this that I think is going to be a problem, which is on the road against Arizona. But it's hard for me to think they're going to win all these games in this gauntlet, so I'm going to probably go a loss here. This, again, is a very good Kansas State program from what they've been the last few years. It's at home, but I'm going to go L. I'll put an L there right now.
All right. Steve?
Kansas State, I think we could beat Kansas State. I think that's one of those games and I think this mentality, if they take the business to them, I think we got that one.
Okay.
If it was there, I would say a loss, but we're home.
Okay.
Kansas State Wildcats, you're gonna get your claws taken out, and I don't have a good one for this one, but I think that this will be a trouble game, though. I do think this will be one of our tougher games at home, and I'm still going with the win, though.
Okay. And I will also add that if the season's going as well as we are all predicting, even though I have the Penn State loss in there, this will be a ranked Mountaineer team. The offense will be moving. People will be talking about the Mountaineers for sure at this point, going into the Kansas State game. And it could be a little bit of a trap game because you have to go to Arizona after that, who's another ranked team. That's why I think that could probably be a loss, because that's going to be a game where the focus nationally will be on what West Virginia does the next week on the road. That's going to be the longest travel in the Big 12, going to Arizona. I also think Arizona maybe is a bit overrated. They never do what they're supposed to do, but yeah, they're 21st right now. They're not nearly as great of a program as some nationally think they are, at least usually in what they put together. But that is on the road there. There is talent there. I think there's a hiccup here. I do think they run off the rest of the schedule, but I'm gonna go loss at Arizona.
Okay.
So I have those back-to-back losses.
Let's say we won Kansas State. Arizona, I think we could trip up. I don't want to say we will, but it's, traveling that far, being somewhere else. Yeah,
you got to make an official decision.
It's taxing.
Steve, win or loss?
I said loss.
Okay. So first of all, Arizona, any Pac-12 team, suck it. There's a reason your conference is not there anymore. It was Pac-12 was the most overrated football conference, I feel. And we're going to talk about Utah at the end of this because they're part of our game. Utah fans, suck it. You guys are.
Yeah, they don't have to play Utah this year.
I know we don't, but I'm talking smack already about Utah.
Okay.
I want nothing more than to go and beat Arizona at home. I think the travel is going to really be a factor in this game, and I'm going to have to say.
Okay.
It pains me because I just hate Arizona, and I want us to be. And that's a game I will be at. I'm definitely flying.
I was going to say it's not far for you.
It's a really easy game for me to get to, so it'll be fun to be there for that game. And I'm gonna just.
Why so much Arizona animosity? There's a lot of good golfing there. I don't have a problem with Arizona. There's no rivalry, West Virginia, Arizona.
I just don't like it. I don't like I don't like the state. I don't like.
It's going to be hot. I'll say that. It's going to be really, really
Arizona.
hot.
That dry heat too. Yeah.
Nico's going home.
They just think everything. They think that team is so great, and I don't get it. Yeah. So
no, I'll give you this history lesson because everyone every year thinks Arizona is that great. The West Virginia program has been in 40 bowls. Arizona's been in like 20 some. Arizona, every time they're supposed to do something, they end up disappointing. This is what they do. So I would not be shocked if they have a really disappointing year. But even if they have a disappointing year, I'm still saying that's a loss. Because as you mentioned, Maddie, that travel, that just makes it a trap game, especially when you have easier games coming up. And that's cross-country trip after the gauntlet of a schedule they just dealt with. That screams like a problem game.
Okay, so we're all in a loss for that one.
And then you move to Cincinnati on November 9th. I believe there's another bye game in the mixed here. Cincinnati's going to be really, really, really bad. They already are dealing with some key injuries. There's not nearly the talent to compete in the Big 12 for me. Cincinnati is a year or two removed from being able to actually do something. So I think that's a win for the Mountaineers. And they're going to need it coming off of the losing streak that I have them on, even if they just lose to Arizona and beat Kansas State. But they cannot lose to Cincinnati. Cincinnati should be a pretty bad team.
Yeah, Cincinnati.
And that is on the road, but that's not a far trip, obviously.
Yeah, no, we should handle Cincinnati easily.
I love Cincinnati.
Go W.
I love Cincinnati because they are always a W, and not always, but
they were last year, and that could be a rivalry. That's kind of a geographic
and they're one of
connection there.
Yeah, we don't have a lot of travel for that game.
East time zone.
Yeah, we should dominate that game easily.
And then and I will be at that game. I will definitely make a point to cover that road game. Not too far of a trip. Get some Skyline chili. Then it is Baylor.
Are you? Hold on. Time out. Skyline chili is not chili. Skyline chili is some concoction with cinnamon in it. It's not chili. It's disgusting.
I don't really taste cinnamon when I have it.
Oh, it's disgusting.
It's first three-way in my life, man.
Oh, Skyline chili.
That's what the meal's called. It's called a three-way.
The only people who like Skyline chili are from freaking Cincinnati or some other Yankee state, like you are, Pennsylvania. You're from Pennsylvania, right?
Yeah.
I'm from Pennsylvania.
I'm not saying Skyline chili is a
delicacy.
delicacy.
Would call that chili.
All right. Well, I'm not comparing it to someone's grandma in the South, but it's. I will definitely have it by being there. But it is Baylor next, speaking of the South, although the game is in Morgantown. That also is revenge from some problem games recently, although they do have more wins against Baylor. That's another game that points could be scored, but I think West Virginia will win that. And as you remember last year, kind of revenge for Baylor because they were having a bad year, but they thought they were going to trip up the Mountaineers before the bowl game and get an upset win. Green led them in a comeback, despite Frazier going down. That's a game they always play close with West Virginia, but I do think WVU will win that and should win that. And if it's going to be a quality 10-plus win year, they're going to have to win that.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely going with West Virginia. But like you said, the games, it's always an exciting game sometimes when we play Baylor. So I'm still picking the Mountaineers.
I will not go to that game because I have not gone to a Baylor WVU game where WVU has won. So I will not be at that game. Not that it was planned, but
Good job.
but I think that coming off of that close win last year, there's a point that needs to be proven, and it will be proven. And Baylor will go down like my 10th grade girlfriend. All right, what's up next?
Okay. Oh man, and then UCF also looking for some revenge from last year. West Virginia went down to Orlando. I was there covering that one and got the victory. Kind of surprised some people, but handled the Knights pretty easily. I do think West Virginia wins that game, but oddly enough, some people think UCF could be a surprise team and be a good team this year. So it wouldn't shock me if they nipped WVU, but I'm not buying them. So I am going to say West Virginia wins that as well.
Ditto. West Virginia all the way.
I'm getting a little sick of UCF people. They really do think that they have got a great. They just think they're amazing.
I also am sick of them. Yes,
and
their fans are probably the most annoying in the conference right now.
Yeah. So listen, Central Florida. Yeah. I mean, what is it? A trailer park around there? I mean, what is in Central Florida? No way.
Well, they're in Orlando. There's some things.
Well, bad enough. Okay. I unfortunately, I have to go speak in Orlando all the time, and it's just not a town I like.
You don't like? Do you seriously not like Orlando?
I love Gatorland. If you want to see rednecks in their natural environment, go to Gatorland. It is amazing.
Gainesville, yeah. Orlando's an underrated city, I do think. I've hung out and had some fun in Orlando.
I will tell you, last time I was in Orlando, and you guys won't know this band, but Rasta Rafiki was a huge band in Morgantown, reggae band. And I'm in an Uber, and what comes on the radio? Freaking Rasta Rafiki. I'm like, where? First of all, I can't even find that to download it anywhere. Where is this coming from? So maybe there is something special about Orlando, and I'm giving it too hard of a time. But anyway, I don't like kids, so Orlando's not a place for me.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to take my daughter there. I feel like at some point. Steve has kids. Yeah, so if you don't like kids, then I guess Orlando doesn't do anything.
Oh, it's the worst place.
There's a solid nightlife in Orlando, though, even for adults. By the way, forget the kids. There's fun for adults in Orlando.
Yeah, but it's parents who are out without their kids, and they all act like assholes.
That's true.
No, we don't.
That's probably the case for the most part. And then, by the way, the season closes out at Texas Tech, which is never fun. Imagine this. You're ending your regular season on a road trip to play Texas Tech. Nobody wants to be there. There's dust rolling around. It's no fun. That's not the easiest travel either, and that's always a place West Virginia has trouble in. I am going to say West Virginia wins, but I could see that being another trap game, similar to what happened last year against Baylor. You're having a good year. You're right before a bowl or playoff or whatever they end up in, and you got a horrible trip to Texas in a real boring area. Maybe it can be business trip then. I'm going to say West Virginia wins because I already had 4 losses prior to this, and I think that'd be the most they lose. But I wouldn't be shocked about that result. That trip sucks. No one likes that trip.
I mean, with the mentality, like I said, if we're going all business, I think that's a game that's important because it is the end of the season. It is going to be,
it could mean us going to the CF. The CFP.
Yeah, it's going to have. It has a lot of stuff.
If you don't win the conference, you do still need to have a resume built up. Yeah, and it's a possibility of getting a second.
So I think the boys can bring that out just because of they do lose 4 or 3. That's going to be the one that's leave a good taste in your mouth.
It's going to be like Patrick Mahomes' quarterback in Texas Tech. They will lose. But I will say this. I've heard this from Tony Caridi. It's one of his favorite places to eat when he's on the road.
I could see that.
They have great barbecue there.
I could see that.
I don't hate on it like I would Orlando or Arizona.
I remember Graham Harrell talked about it, and he literally talked about the dust, and you look out your window, and you just wouldn't even be able to see a mile away because there's so much dust in the air. It didn't paint a great picture.
It's a part of the country that I have no. I don't need to be there ever.
I like some parts of Texas, but not where Texas Tech.
Oh, if I end up in Texas, I fucked up somewhere. Something happened somewhere.
You don't even like Austin? I know
Texas just went off in there.
Oh, not Austin. Houston, baby.
I'm sick of Californians, and I live in California. I go to Austin, and I'm just right back in the mix of things. That's all who lives there now is people from California.
Yeah.
I guess it's kind of like college town, though. But yeah, it's true. And then that would wrap up the season with either a bowl game, maybe the CFP, maybe a Big 12 championship game. if they have the season you guys are talking about. I believe I have them winning 9 again and failing to get in and play for the Big 12 title, but still having a quality year and maybe would have a chance at something decent resume-wise. I don't think the Big 12 sends more than 2 teams, though. So if you're not in that Big 12 title game, you're probably not in the CFP. It might even only be 1 team. They might even only take the champ because a lot of SEC and Big 10 teams are going to fill that thing. And it'll depend on if Notre Dame's good, they're going to have obviously a shot at getting in. If there's a group of 5 that's undefeated and has a decent schedule, they're going to have a shot at getting in. There's not tons of room for Big 12 and ACC. So the one path that's clear is winning the conference. I think they got too tough of a schedule to do it this year, but I do think they're going to have a good season and be a good team. We will see, though. And they can really prove themselves week 1 against Penn State.
There's our predictions. Put down Slayton and Stout for 10 wins.
I think I have 9.
And let's show them, everybody.
Okay.
So before we get to the game, just real quick, talk to us what's going on up in Pittsburgh with some of these Mountaineers. I'm just hearing a lot of good things about Beanie Bishop and Zach Frazier. What can you tell us?
Yeah, I've been to Steelers camp a couple times. Frazier's going to be the starting center, 100%. They brought him in to do it. He didn't start the first preseason game, but I wouldn't even be shocked. We're recording this before the second one. He might even start that one. He's looked really, really good. He's very mature. He does everything you would want. No surprise. He's a beast. He's going to be a perennial, probably a Pro Bowl center. I truly believe he can be a Pro Bowl center. He's going to be the piece of that team in the future. And the guy that he's behind already had a bungled snap in the first preseason game, so a lot of signs are pointing to Frazier starting. Beanie also already has a start. He did start that first preseason game. He's looked good in camp. I will say he got beat a few times, Steve, actually against your Texans, your former team. A couple of their slot receivers, similar size to him, beat him on some runs. He did have 4 tackles. That's kind of concerning. Mike Tomlin did talk about that he needs to see more. Didn't seem like he was too impressed with the film. But Beanie is a guy that has a chip on his shoulder. If you tell him he can't do it, he's going to motivate himself to get it done. He thought he should have been drafted. Every team that passed on him, he said he's motivated to beat. And by the way, guys, that includes the Steelers, who told him they were going to take him. They didn't take him. They signed him as a free agent. So he is motivated. He's very, very good. He's always had a chip on his shoulder his whole life. I'm concerned he's undersized for playing nickel in the NFL, and that's a concern to have your NFL team have a starting nickel who's an undrafted guy who's undersized. We will see what he does, but he's a player that you just want to root for. I honestly, I will tell you that I even have some friends who are Pitt fans that also cover the Steelers, etc. They all are rooting for Beanie too. You talk to him once or twice, you're starting to root for that kid. He's hard to root against. But Frazier's on lock that he's eventually going to start, if not to open up the year as a starter. And I think Beanie will have an impact at some point. You hope he stays on the roster because he's trying his ass off in Latrobe, to say the least.
Well, no, that's a tough thing, especially for Nicholas, small undersized, is going to get some of these receivers, man. These guys are professionals and going in week out and understanding who's, it's a lot different than college. So he'll get there the more reps you have. Yeah. So more reps he gets, more he sees. Yeah. I think that's, a big thing just to be able to stick your face in the fan. Coaches love that. And to where, run support and Steelers are known for hard defense. So I think if he keeps that mentality, he'll be okay.
Well, folks, let's just be honest. This whole show is just a prelude to the game. Let's just be honest with it. That's the juice.
That's what it is for me personally. Yeah.
So it is time to play another round of Player or Porn Star Utah edition. Why Utah? Well, we're not playing them this season, and we don't have a game next weekend. And I already hate them. I already hate them. They just think they're going to come into the Big 12 and roll all over us because they were so good in the Pac-12.
That's a good program, man. I wouldn't be shocked.
It might be, but I don't like the attitude.
Okay. I wouldn't be surprised.
Have you been on the message
They're
boards?
the preseason pick to win the Big 12. So
I know they are, but if you go on the message boards, they'll tell you.
You spend too much time on the message boards, I think. I think you need to.
That was Maddie's job.
I like going on the message boards, man.
Yeah, it's Facebook, the message boards, even X these days. It's getting to be a dumpster fire.
I will say this, that we're a team that people don't really like to not talk good about. Like, people like to talk shit about every team in West Virginia, but we're a team that people were always like, but I really like West Virginia. I love going the games there, and we seem to
hear
have
that a lot. Yeah.
until we start winning and beating everybody, then everybody will find a reason to hate us. But even when we're winning, people say, how do you not like
the
us?
Pat White, Steve Slayton era, people love it. Unless you're a Pitt fan or something, the people around the country, people are still talking about it. After Tavon retired, it was all highlights, everyone talking about how great he was, and they weren't West Virginia fans. So I do think a lot of the conference would root for West Virginia if their team couldn't win, and I do hear that from opposing fans. It's great to go to games there. West Virginia has a place in college football for sure. BYU last year, speaking of a team in Utah, they actually, and we thought maybe it was a disrespect thing. We weren't sure how they got the flag, but if you remember before the game in Morgantown, they carried out a West Virginia State flag, and I found out they did it on purpose. They got approval to respect the state. They did it as a respect thing. I know there were some people that didn't like it still, but that just shows you there is respect around the country for the Mountaineers. Obviously, the rivals won't like them, but
of course not.
We will see if they win and if they're arrogant in winning, how long that lasts. If they have the season that you guys are talking about.
I will say two fan bases that I have gotten a little soft spot for. One was BYU. I really enjoyed. They were very respectful. Everyone that came, they're Mormons. They're nice.
I mean, as they should be, right? They're Mormons.
Yeah. But the other one is, what happened with the Iowa State softball team and the WVU baseball team this season. That was really special. That was super special, and so I will never have like a hatred to. I trust me, watching their basketball games that when we play them at home, I really don't want to like all those folks, but after that, I gotta have a soft spot. That and Tony's kid's quarterback, so I definitely I want to see him succeed, just not when he plays us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So then all of that'll leave you if they do beat West Virginia, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
You'll start hating them.
Yeah.
Because they do play this year.
But Arizona, you got a tough road to hoe there to make me like you. All right. So I've got 5 names. One of these, some of these are going to be players, and some of these are going to be porn stars. The game is to guess which one it is. Mike, as the guest, you get to start. My first player is CJ Blocker. CJ Blocker.
What a player to start with. I'm going to say player.
I'm going to go against this, a porn star.
He is a corner for the Utah Utes.
It just seemed too easy to go star. I'm not going to lie and say that I'm aware.
So it's 1 point for Mike. All right. Next one's going to Steve. Joey Cheeks.
Ooh, that's a great name. Joey Cheeks. I feel like I'm going to go porn star.
I was going to say, is that a name for a center? That's like kind of like a Zach Frazier's position type of name. I'm going to also go star, though. That just seems too ridiculous.
And you both would be wrong. He is a kicker for the old Utes.
Oh, okay.
I was waiting for him to be a center. That would be interesting.
Yeah.
So the score is 1-0 Mike. Okay. Next on the list, Lexington Steele. Lexington Steele. Player or porn star, Mike Asti?
Star.
You both get a point for that one. He is a porn star.
Just has to be. I mean, that would be insane.
How about Cash Dillon? Cash Dillon. Slater.
Cash Dillon. I'm going to say...
I just noticed the Slater right there.
Yeah. That's a old nickname from college they gave me. D lineman. Cheeks. Let's go player.
Cash Dillon, you're saying? I was going to go player. I don't want to be persuaded off just because to go opposite. I'm going to go player.
You guys are right. He's a defensive end. Okay, and the final name, although Mike has already won the game, is Rabbit Evans. Rabbit Evans.
And I'm going to say star.
I feel like what you
I don't want to look any of these up, so it's not like anyone's going to cheat and try to look any of these up. Imagine what you find if you...
Yeah. I'm going to go against the grain and say player. I'll say player.
He's a safety. He plays for the Utah Utes. Good job. Good job, gentlemen. Mike, as the winner, please promote as much as you want. The floor is yours.
Sure. You can find the coverage of the Mountaineers, myself, and my colleague Ethan Bach at WV Sports Now. You can also find me doing some national writing at Yardbarker, as Maddie did say, also doing some contributing work there as a host with SiriusXM. My podcast, Mic Drop, which is also played there as part of the Believe Network. A lot of their shows are on SiriusXM. And then now, Ethan and I have a new pod that's just for WVSN. I'm not throwing it out anywhere else. called Mountaineer Report, and it is all West Virginia talk. So it's not mixed with any Pittsburgh talk or any national talk or anything else that I may talk on shows. It is just Mountaineer talk. So hit that up. Now it's everywhere you can get your podcast. It's on the YouTube for WVSN. We actually have about 5 shows in the can. Some of them are doing really, really well. We talked Dana, and that kind of really popped and did really well recently with his comments. I don't know if you heard that. He had a press conference as a consultant, and then he talked about West Virginia, as insane as that sounds. But that's and you can find me on social at Mike Asti 11, everywhere on social. You Google search there, you'll be able to find me. And I will tease this, that I have a website in the works that will have all of this in a one-stop shop, be able to find me in my career. I'm finally putting that together. It's been a while. It's a long
called Voice
time.
of Morgantown? Is that the name of it?
It is not called that. It is not called that. That domain is taken, and I will gladly give that up. That is not what it will be called.
That's not a
wow.
2 things.
You can't find me there. You can't find me there.
I have 2 questions. First of all, do you know the first show that was a podcast that was played on SiriusXM?
In the history of SiriusXM,
Yes.
I do not know that. Unless is it you? Something
It was
you had
mine.
to do?
It was my show. It was called Straight Mail Friend, and we were the first podcast to go on to SiriusXM. There was 3 of us, 3 podcasts, but we were on the first
What year
group.
was that?
2009. 2009, 10.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
Okay.
And
It's
second
amazing
question-
how long Sirius has been around.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I remember back in the day, I had an old car and I got an extra stereo to get to listen to Howard Stern, and when they went in Sirius XM and those different stations there, when it went all satellite and people left regular radio, and 15 years later, Sirius is still around, and other platforms are not still around. So props to Sirius, and I'm a part of that. I'm involved in the Big 12 channel a little bit with Ari Temkin and the crew, and then podcasts that one of them just gets put on there because I believe has a deal with them, and then hopefully others.
very nice. Very nice.
Company I like, I do consulting for. I actually talk to the guys at Howard Stern about once a month, so I'm a huge fan. But I wanted to just go back a second. So you're doing a podcast with old Ethan. Has he gotten better at talking on a microphone? Because when he was on our show, it was like pulling fucking teeth.
Ethan is
him
my
that, too.
teammate. I am supporting Ethan. Ethan does fine. Ethan is great on the show. I have
Good
no
job,
problem
Ethan,
with
man.
Ethan. Yeah,
No,
props to
honestly,
Ethan.
though, all of us who watched Ethan go from intern to what he's doing now, student to what he's doing now, he's earned it. He's
There's been a maturation process for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, a few years ago, Ethan was maybe the shy kid you're talking about, but now
it's been a few
Ethan's
years.
come into his own. He covered the Bob Huggins drama, and that really helped him give his opinions and be more than willing to give them. That kind of pushed him to be the Ethan Bach we know and love today, and he drops the Bach bombs. He drops the Bach bombs when we break news at WV
Trademark.
Sports Now.
Bach bombs.
Yeah, we need to
bombs.
kind of
You
trademark
teach
that.
him about
His name
trademarks.
works.
Yeah.
Yeah, it works
well, that's
perfectly,
good.
But I'm a fan of Ethan.
I'm a big fan. It is fun to make fun of him.
It can be, I guess. True.
All right, Steve, you wanna tell the folks how to get hold of you?
As always, as usual, X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, Steve23 Slayton. Instagram, Mr. Slayton.
And don't forget to follow the show at Burning Couch Pod, Burning Couch Podcast. You can find us everywhere, but check out our YouTube channel if you're listening. That is where we get most of our views and stuff now. We do much more on YouTube than we ever did in audio, which is surprising. It's Steve's good looks. It's definitely not me, but
Sure, yeah,
somehow-
definitely.
I need a shape up
Yeah.
or something. Looking
Yeah.
rough. You look good for
No,
people
you're
now.
looking perfect.
He's looking.
You're-
He's getting back into shape, buddy. So don't forget to follow the podcast. You can follow me, Maddie Stout, STAUDT, on everywhere. I'm still on Twitter.
Gotta get Steve back to Morgantown.
Haven't kicked me
That
off.
gotta
Yeah,
happen.
we got to do a live show again. We used to do those pretty regularly.
You do a live show there, I'll jump on it for sure. I want to be a part
All
of
right.
it.
Well, maybe if the book
Sounds
exchange
beautiful.
picks us up this year, it's something we put on the table for them to do one from there. Wouldn't it be good for them to print special edition Steve Slayton jerseys? Have Steve there to sign jerseys. Have us do the podcast.
Steve can get broken off these days.
And
Now,
pay-
baby.
That
Yeah,
nil.
the worst.
I'm missing out. I
I know you did. Can you imagine
got
what
some
you
get
and
back.
Pat would have got with NIL back in the day? Man,
We've been
hard.
pretty
Can you imagine
good.
that?
Yeah.
It's hard to think.
I'm sure you did fine, but can you imagine? Can you imagine what it would have been?
I wish I did
there?
fine, but no, it definitely would have been a blessing just because of the hard work you get in. And But hey, it's another story. I mean, but we paid the ground for it.
Yep.
So long as
Got to get Cole Taylor in the game too in college football 25. He told us that he applied to get in. He did not want to be in, and they sent him an email saying you weren't selected to be in, and he didn't get his $600, and he's not in the game. He told us that he wanted to be in there, so that needs fixed. Cole Taylor wants in the game.
Definitely
he's not in there.
There shouldn't be cap at that now.
Millions of listeners that we have. Get a petition going. So, that's how you find the show. We always appreciate you listening and watching. And Steve, you got something to say to get us out of here?
10-win season. You heard it here first.
10 wins, baby.